What's happening, everybody? Back again. I have found Dead Man. Alright, let me share this video. I got some sun shining. Welcome back, everybody. Hello, Gerardo. Alright, Dan is coming. Thank you. We had some just time zone confusion. So I hunted him down and I got him back. So let me share this video if you guys want to share it again. Hi, Alyssa. Hello, Sasha. Hello, Yvonne. Esther. What's up, everybody? Let me just share this. We'll wait for Dan Man. There's Dan Man. Yeah. All right. Dan Man on the screen. I'm sharing this.
Hey!
What's up?
Finally here. Yeah, sorry about that mix-up.
It's okay. I'm glad
Just
that
been
you
down the beach,
made
actually.
it. Oh, hi
This is
guys.
my two little minions.
They're so cute.
Great. Okay. Well,
let me share
to
this.
see you
I'm going
again,
to share
Lisa.
the video. I know, long time, man.
Yeah, you're in Amsterdam and...
I'm in Amsterdam.
There's...
You're back in England, yeah?
Yeah, back in England, yeah.
Oh, yeah, because you're little ones.
It's been beautiful here, so... yeah,
oh, yeah?
Amsterdam, there's plenty of reasons to visit Amsterdam.
Dude, it's awesome here. I've never been here. I love it. Like, it's such a just beautiful city, and the bikes and the canals, and like, it's so liberal, you know, like, it's great.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a special little place.
Cora wants to join the conversation, do you?
Hello, Cora.
I said
hello.
You could join if you were quiet, but that's impossible, so you won't be. Yeah.
Here, I'll share this chat on your page. I'm going to share this on your page, too. And then we can get chatting.
Yeah, I thought we could start getting into some sacred cows, actually.
Some what? Sacred cows?
Sacred cows of medicine, really, and like I had an interesting conversation with.
Yeah.
Hey, 1 second. Sorry about this.
Yeah. Do your thing.
I don't want you being around. You've got to be quiet, okay? Yeah. So I had an interesting conversation on Facebook with somebody, and they were talking about autoimmune conditions.
Yeah.
These are, I don't know if you saw it, but these are pretty interesting, really. And the Chinese have got... Let me go outside. The Chinese have got like a really good description of what's going on with autoimmune.
Oh, yeah? Uh-oh, you froze on my side.
Heard of those?
Uh-oh. Oh, you're back.
Yeah, back.
You're kind of back.
Yeah, bee and goo syndrome. I don't know if you've ever heard of those.
Yeah. I remember learning about those for sure. So so that has to do with autoimmune?
Yeah. It's pretty clear, really, that those are kind of autoimmune. Well, autoimmune is a misnomer. So autoimmune is So autoimmune is just a theory.
Yeah.
Doesn't.
I mean, like as an acupuncturist, every autoimmune person in my practice.
1 second, sorry.
Yeah.
Kids, what did I say? Go on.
Dad duty.
Just be quiet. It's fine. Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay. I feel like there was such a emotional component. You know, liver chi was always there, but you're saying that they actually had a diagnosis for it.
Autoimmune.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, autoimmune. So the theory of autoimmune, and it is just a theory. That's the thing. I don't know who came up with it, but they obviously had to explain these pathologies where the immune system seemed to be attacking itself. So they couldn't see what the immune system was attacking.
Yeah.
And so what they then said, well, it was just inexplicably attacking itself.
Yeah.
Because you can't see what it's attacking, therefore it must just be attacking itself. So that's where autoimmune came from. But then what's happened is, like, increasingly they keep finding things that it was attacking. So for instance, Helicobacter pylori, if they get rid of that, then autoimmune gastritis gets better. And
really?
Yeah, there's loads of other examples like this where they're finding increasingly that the immune system is attacking something. So, and this is the Chinese description of autoimmune matches B syndrome
Huh.
quite closely. Not perfectly. It's also like something called Gu syndrome, which it matches too. And B syndrome,
Interesting.
it says B syndrome is you get cold, damp, and wind, you know, which basically lodge in the body and obstruct things, and
Yeah.
then you can have tendon B, and you can have bone B, and you can have skin B, and you can also have help me out here. What other B's can you have?
I don't remember, but I remember learning this as a student, how confusing it was because you could have it everywhere. You know,
Yeah,
and you know, just the thought actually of that in comparison to autoimmune makes a lot of sense because you can have autoimmune everywhere, you know?
exactly. Yeah, yeah. So God, how can you not smile at that? The yeah, the Cora, stop it. The au- autoimmune. The way they classify autoimmune. I just quickly, because I was having this interesting conversation yesterday with guy Steve, and he was kind of, you know, trying to pick holes in this, which is always good because debate is always good, you know.
Yeah.
And that's why you shouldn't have any sacred cows. Cora, shush, shush, sweetie.
When
You
you're
shouldn't have any
saying
sacred
cows,
cows because you should
are you
always be
saying
able to
cat? What's cat? C-A-L?
sacred
K-A-L?
a sacred
Cat.
cow.
Oh, cow.
Yeah.
Like it's a saying. I got it.
Yeah.
I just caught up.
Oh, do you know that saying? Sacred.
Yes,
cow.
I just remembered it. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. And yeah, I mean, like Chinese medicine in some ways is a bit of a sacred cow because people can get quite defensive about trying to bring it into the 21st century. And
Yeah, I know.
and that's just, you know, Western medicine has this similar kind of thing, but with autoimmune conditions, right? I'll just go upstairs. It's the easiest thing. With autoimmune conditions, the B syndromes, what they call the B syndromes, so the 5 B syndromes are tendon, bone, skin. I forget the other two, but basically they describe autoimmune conditions in exactly the same way. They say, oh,
Isn't
it
it
tends
just
to
heat
affect
and
these
cold?
5 things.
Is this hot and cold bee? Isn't that the other ones?
Well, yeah, you get hot and cold B and cold. So what cold is pathogens. Pathogens are just cold by nature. So you know, the Chinese description of the body is perfect in my opinion, absolutely perfect. It's just needs to be translated, and you can't translate it too literally. You've got to understand where it's come from. It's 2,000 years old, and they've tried to explain these concepts, which I think they probably knew very deeply, but they needed to explain them in such a way that people would understand them. So the character for wind, for instance, feng, it contains insects within it, and so that's a really good description to me of microbes. You know, they're pretty similar, really. A plague of insects and a plague of microbes are effectively, you know, on a macroscopic and a microscopic scale, they're the same thing going on. You know, you lose all your crops, you know, you lose all your health, and so that's wind. So wind is energy that moves around the body. So chi is organized energy, but wind is disorganized energy. Yeah, and that's why it's particularly affects the very chi dependent organs of the brain and the heart, and can give you arrhythmias and can give you convulsions because they're so rich in chi, organizational energy. That's why wind affects those two. And the liver's job is to like clear wind because it clears out all the toxic compounds in the blood. So that's what the liver does. And so wind is also pathogens as well, because pathogens pathogens are windy by nature. They can move around in the body, And they also create lots of toxicity as well, which tends to then move chi around. And they create hot and cold spots. Because pathogens, not only are they windy, but they're also cold in nature, because a pathogen will physically steal your warmth from you. It will get into your body, and it will take your warmth, it will take your energy, like physical energy, not just chi. It will suck out your glucose and all the other protein and stuff in your body, and it will suck that out of you. So as far as the body's concerned, a pathogen, a microbe, a bacteria, a virus, all of these things are cold. And that's what the Shanghan Lun says. The principal thing, the Shanghan Lun, is like all pathogens are cold. Some of them, I think, can create things called endotoxins, which are then hot in nature. So things like you can get Staph aureus and Streptococcus that can produce these endotoxins, which then produce an immune reaction that is actually not so much about stealing energy, which is what a microbe does, but more is about turning the body really hot.
Yeah.
Microbes themselves should just be understood as being cold in nature. So there we have they're windy, they're cold, and the last thing is they're damp as well. They're damp in nature because a dampness is simply substances in the body that shouldn't be there. So this is why the Tai Yin, why the spleen and the lung are so prone to dampness, is because they're constantly trying to bring in substances from the outside world, and they're prone to bring in things that they're not supposed to bring in.
Yeah, I mean, I think that simplifies it in a very straightforward and logical way. Makes a lot of sense. It's an easy way to understand it,
Exactly. It's very easy. It's very straightforward. It's incredibly simple. There's
So
and you can have that conversation with the doctor.
Yeah, exactly. It would make a lot of sense.
And they'll be like, yeah, okay, yeah. Because I've had those conversations.
Yeah.
They'll kind of buy it.
So wait, so what are these studies that you're talking about with the autoimmune where they found that it was fighting bacteria?
Oh, loads. So firstly you've got loads of autoimmune conditions are well accepted to be caused by an acute bacterial infection. So you've got Streptococcus and sore throats that then lead on to you get a glomerulonephritis from that, and you can also get a kind of rheumatoid arthritis from that. You've got Helicobacter, which can then cause cancer, or something that basically mimics cancer. But if you get rid of the Helicobacter, the cancer goes. And it can also cause the autoimmune gastritis. It can also cause autoimmune platelet diseases. Again, so that links in nicely stomach and spleen. Spleen's all about platelets. You can also get what else is there? So you've got Helicobacter. Well, SLE is basically very closely linked to Epstein-Barr virus, and the Epstein-Barr virus also effectively causes a chronic fatigue syndrome that mimics an autoimmune condition. Name me an autoimmune condition, and I'll give you some kind of.
Well, have you ever treated any in your office? Like, have you ever treated any with this Chinese medicine theory behind it?
Oh, yeah, I've treated one woman with a urticarial type problem, and it got a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the classic one that comes to my mind is fibromyalgia. I had a lot of those patients, all the time. And with those, that's why I always found that to have such an emotional component. It was usually a specific type of personality. But it's like chicken or egg. I don't know.
Well,
maybe
fibromyalgia
caused that because of all
autoimmune.
Oh, it's not?
No, technically, no. So fibromyalgia is
interesting.
Unknown etiology. It's not technically autoimmune.
Tanya wrote asthma. Is asthma autoimmune?
What's that?
I said Tanya here in the comments wrote asthma. Is asthma autoimmune?
That's an acronym, isn't it, for something? What's that stand for?
No, asthma. Like when they have the inhalers.
Asthma,
yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay. I didn't know what you weren't talking about cows.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sacred cows. Asthma is, asthma's autoimmune, and asthma
It is.
is,
Interesting.
technically it's autoimmune, but it's not. Asthma is basically, again, it's a retained pathogen. It fits perfectly when you start
Yeah,
to understand.
it
That's
really does.
why basically they're always acting like they're fighting some kind of infection, and then when they get an infection on top of that, it really makes it flare up.
Yeah.
That's why they get excess mucus production, because they're trying to clear that. That's the bronchoconstriction is just an attempt for the body to wall off this pathogen. And this is why long-term steroids don't make these things better, because the steroids, the immune system's going, look, we've got a problem, we've got a pathogen, we can't quite deal with it. We don't have the tools to be able to deal with it, and that's where acupuncture, cupping, I think cupping will be enormously, and actually not that I do it, but I think blood cupping would probably really be something. I mean, if I had rheumatoid arthritis or something, I'd probably find someone who did blood cupping.
Yes.
And
I mean, I remember I had a lot of great responses in my patients who had asthma, like with just acupuncture, and they did great. They would everybody would be off inhalers and stuff.
What kind of what kind of treatment protocols or treatment principles?
I can't remember if these are Master Dong or not, but there's some in the chin.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. They might be Master Dong. I can't even remember where I learned them, but they're awesome for asthma. And then, I always just remember it was specific to the patient, if they were more damp or if they were more deficient.
Yeah, definitely. They're all, I mean, dampness is, so in the chapter 43, I think, I was just reading this today, that's why I know the chapter thing, of the Su Wen.
Got it. Chapter 43.
Chapter 43, that's right. As I'm sure you know your Su Wen just inside out, as I do.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Chapter 43, it just gives this description of, basically if you're living in a cold, windy, wet environment, then you're much more prone to get these cold, windy, wet conditions, and so obviously, and then add to that the fact that a lot of people eat effectively very damp food, especially in America, because the food there is just, you're catching up with Europe, but I've just come back actually from a couple of weeks, and wow, it was good food actually, but it was very damp in nature.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much. It's only getting worse and worse, for sure. For sure.
It? Oh wow.
I feel like it.
Corn syrup is. Well, the quality seemed better to me. But it was still very.
That's good to know.
Very kind of very damp in nature.
I guess it depends on where you were in the United States. If you're in California. Yeah,
we were in California.
Yeah. So.
I mean, it's like England. If you go up north, it's like pies, chips, and gravy. Pies, chips, and gravy. Which is nice. It's nice, but it's not kind of great every day.
It's not nutrient dense either, That's such a problem. I think, that's a whole nother medical theory, is that everything really goes wrong because of nutrient imbalances. And there's a part of me that almost believes that. Nutrient imbalances and emotions will throw off everything.
Well, and that's just classic Chinese medicine, because classic Chinese medicine says the spleen, prenatal it's all kidney, postnatal it's all spleen. So it's all your food.
Kidney, that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. And kidney is basically just your neural crest cells, which are these really powerful cells that make your kidney, or certainly connect your kidney to your urinary system, and they make your adrenal glands, and they make your brain, and they make everything interesting in your body. They make, and that's what the Chinese are talking about when they're talking about the kidney. Those cells basically are so the kidney is kind of broader than the kidney in a way. It's kind of this so the way in which the body, what the Chinese are talking about when they talk about the body isn't strict organs, it's layers, 6 layers, and so it has to be understood more like 6 layers, and then it makes a lot more sense. So we need to bring this terminology in, so really people need to be more precise with their terminology. I have a big thing about meridians.
Yeah.
That word is dirty, in my opinion. It should only
Yeah, I
be
know.
applied if you're
I
in
know.
drainage. It
The
should be
6 level stuff
managing
is,
lower channels.
yeah. The 6 level stuff is the embryology stuff that you teach in your first book, right? Is that what you're talking about?
The which?
6 levels, is that's got to do with the embryology stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I remember that. I remember learning that from your book.
The 6 levels is so Shanghan Lun kind of description of the body, and 6. I'm happy to be corrected on this, but my understanding is that the 12 acupuncture channels, the 12 ordinary acupuncture channels, are actually simply just the 6 levels in the arms and the legs. So 6 times 2 is 12.
Yeah.
So that's why it's called arm Shao Yin, leg Shao Yin. Arm Shui Yin, leg Shui Yin. And then what happened was, again, happy to be corrected by anybody out there on this. I might be wrong, as with everything. But then what happened is later on they said, oh, leg Shao Yin is basically liver. Oh, sorry, leg Shui Yin. Leg Shui Yin is liver, yeah? Arm Shui Yin is pericardium. Now, the way I see this and understand this is that the liver is just a way to kind of go, it's actually more than the liver, but the liver's the most emblematic aspect of this channel, or this plane in the body. So it would be a bit like saying London, instead of calling it London, well, in fact, actually, City of London, you could say, I went to Westminster, yeah, in London, yeah, and it would be like and people would think, oh, that was kind of, this isn't a great analogy, but anyway, I'll follow it through.
Keep going. Follow through.
People,
I love analogies.
And Westminster's like the most London part of London in a way, yeah.
Okay.
But actually, London's a lot bigger than that. It's not a great.
I think I follow you.
Yeah. So
you're thinking though that the organ association with the channel came later.
Yeah, my understanding is, yeah. Originally it was I mean, I think if you go back, it's all in fact, even the leg and arm Shao Yin, I think that came after some other description that was something like big or small or something, Shao Yin, or something even a bit weirder. But I think from memory, I haven't.
Is this in one of the classics you're talking about that you read this?
Yeah, look, I mean, here is, so, I don't know, I haven't, I'm just kind of putting this out, yeah? So this is a translation of the classic. So let me have a look and see, here we are, look, there we are, good. So that page there, you can't really see it, but it says, okay, so here we go. And this is a pretty accurate translation. So the foot Tai Yang, bladder, and foot Shao Yin, heart channels. Now, I don't know whether the guys put heart and bladder in there as to kind of explain it, but clearly the Neiping Suwen is saying foot Tai Yang first, and foot Shao Yin. And that's a much better way of understanding these. In fact, I mean, this is really critical to understanding acupuncture theory, that you've got to start understanding the organs as just condensations within these planes. So they're just particularly...
Say that again.
The organs are condensations
within
the planes. Within planes. So the planes are like 6... So it's like 6 layers. So imagine a Swiss roll. Yeah. Okay. And you've got like layers in that Swiss roll, and you've got jam, haven't you?
You lost me. I'm thinking of cake now. No.
I explain it all in my new book. but very simply, the organs are just condensations within these planes. The planes are primary. The planes are the most... Imagine a jellyfish, yeah? A jellyfish doesn't have organs. It has an outside, an inside, and a middle. Yeah. And it doesn't have organs, but those planes, an outside, inside, and middle. Yeah, go and ask Mummy, you silly Billy. Go on. Well, why are you asking me? This is Cora.
Hi again.
Cora wants cucumber. Of course you can go for cucumber. Oh, she doesn't.
Good choice, Cora.
She just wants to annoy her daddy.
Don't.
So the jellyfish. So it's interesting actually. So when I wrote this new book, I started thinking about how. Oh, it's mummy downstairs, sweetie. Go on. I started thinking about how. So where did we come from? What was the original kind of, you know, without, evolution of us in a way? And I think, well, jellyfish kind of seemed like the most obvious place that we came from. And interestingly, thank God, it turns out genetically, I found this after this, that genetically they've said every single animal comes from a comb jellyfish. That's where we all got from. Yeah. So every animal. So that makes sense to me because if you look at yeah, we all came from a comb jellyfish. Yeah, they can basically look at every.
What happened to the monkey theory? I thought we came from monkeys. Did the monkeys come from jellyfish?
Way back. and then so a jellyfish has got an outside called ectoderm and an inside where it just grabs food and pulls it in called endoderm, and a middle which is called mesoderm or mesoglia, and it's just 3 planes, yeah. And the inside plane is concerned with absorbing food, and the outside plane is concerned with excreting substances, tai yang, yeah. Inside is tai yin, outside is tai yang, and the middle in a jellyfish is very primitive, so it's only got 1 layer in the middle, but that becomes eventually that will become the 4 layers of the Xiao Yang, Yang Ming, Xiao Yin, Shui Yin, yeah. And then so we're just basically a highly complex jellyfish. Yeah. And Pasha's like,
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, jellyfish are extremely successful creatures, aren't they? I mean, they're still going strong, and they will do. When jellyfish die, I think that's it. Nothing on life.
We have some comments here. Wait, Ashley was saying a cinnamon bun, and when you were suggesting cake, and then Hannah's talking about condensation in plains equals rain in Spain. I don't know what that means.
She's saying what?
She said condensation plus plains equal rain in Spain. I don't know what that means.
The rain in Spain only lands on the plains.
And then Alyssa's saying,
in Mallorca
makes total sense. Hannah has said there's a jellyfish that is immortal. Do you know about an immortal jellyfish? Yes?
Well,
immortal?
You've seen my 2 young children, so I'm a big fan of Octonauts. Is Anna, have you watched Octonauts? You've watched Octonauts, haven't you?
I have no idea what that is.
She's got young children. She's watched Octonauts. That's how she knows about the immortal jellyfish. Yeah, he's called Dorian.
So it's like a cartoon?
He's called Dorian, yeah. Dorian. He's Jamaican, the immortal jellyfish. He's hilarious.
Oh, gosh. Tanya has said organs, microchannels, macro channels, levels. She just said, you guys are awesome. Let's just keep talking. So wait. So in your new book, you're talking about, you break all this down in your new book?
Yeah.
What is, I remember we talked about this, but tell everybody watching, like, what's your new book about? Because I know people want to know, because they love your book. What are you writing about in your new one that's different than your old one?
Yeah, so I started writing this new book because the cover that I wanted on my old book, my publishers wouldn't put on it, so that frustrated me.
Yes. By the way, they said that, yes, the cartoon, best show ever. Yep, that's what they were talking about.
Yeah, the cartoon. Yeah, so the cartoon's like the six planes that I got. Yeah, I think that's why they didn't put it on, because I think they thought it made the whole thing look too cartoonish.
Like not medical?
Yeah. I think they. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, because you're going to self-publish this one, yeah? You're self-publishing, right?
Yeah, self-publishing, yeah, definitely, yeah. Because then I keep artistic control and bigger profits, basically, as well, which is always good. So I started writing it partly, actually, it was partly after talking to you as well in
that's
San
true.
Diego.
You did start after we were talking. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, because
I
you've
haven't
been
started
saying,
mine yet.
I've got to do this, and I'm like, no, I've got to finish this book because otherwise it will never get finished. And it's taken me 9 months to write this, so it's full time, 9 months basically.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, you've been gone.
What's that?
You've been like gone sometimes. You know?
Yeah.
You're like, I'm writing the book.
I knew that the thing is something like that. If you if you get distracted by, I mean, anything
Yeah.
can happen in life, can't it? Anything can happen.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like, I knew that it was better just to finish it, because otherwise, you know, half finished, it was kind of worthless. So it's pretty much finished now. I'm just
Good.
tidying it up. And this book, so what this book is, so some of the I got feedback from you, which was like, oh, you know, your stuff's great. And then I got feedback from another doctor
That was deep.
who said, how do I practice acupuncture? He said, oh, I loved your book, but how do I practice acupuncture? And I kind of went, oh, yeah, it's a good point, actually, because it's basically, the sparking machine is just a kind of proof of concept, if you like. It's just hey, actually, all of these concepts that Chinese medicine have, all of these weird sounding things like the spleen governs transformation, transportation, here is what they're actually saying. It's like a translation. So this book is much more about kind of how you practice acupuncture in a way, and it goes
it's more textbook.
Yeah, it's a textbook. It's a textbook, exactly, and it goes much more into the physiology of the organs. I kind of realised actually that the chi I talk about in the sparking machine is yuan chi, embryological. So I would call yuan chi, which is source chi. I would actually define that as embryological chi, and then it clearly says, you know, and it all fits together perfectly, you know. And the thing I was talking about, the 6 layers, is just because if you actually look at how bodies function, they function with these 6 layers. They really do function like this, you know, with the jellyfish. The jellyfish progresses, but you keep that same basic function, and then you have to have a heart to pump nutrition around. You still have to have a lymph system. You have to have a liver, because you get this problem when you start pumping blood around. You get this problem about separating lymph and blood, because the two are always trying to separate. So the liver sits there separating them and cleaning them at the same process, you know, and that's why it fits into Xiao Yang, the liver, because the liver, the Xiao Yang is lymph. Lymph and fascia.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it's all basically, it's sitting at about 140,000 words now, which
wow, go you.
Well,
in
no,
9 months.
I think that's really tiny, which is great, because I mean, I'm like, I look at I did a rough calculation of Giovanni's book, and I reckon it's 500,000 words, you know, and so I'm like, I don't know.
You're just more
I'm really
direct.
not a fan of big books. I hate big books. I can't read them. I want things to be precise and concise and
tiny but mighty, man. Tiny but mighty.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's basically just it's
more
going to
digestible
revolutionize
anyway.
medicine.
You know, like I've never been able to read Machiocho's whole book ever. I've never read it all. You know, maybe I should. But
God bless him. I mean, he's
it's
slightly
you know, a blessing to our medicine. I don't know. I've just never read it all.
Yeah, exactly. Me neither. But
interesting.
But it's all. This is the thing. It's all a lot. The good news is it's all a lot simpler than. And the great thing about making it simple is once you make it simple, then you can deal with the complexity of people, because everyone's different. So you've got to get this basic fundamental physiology right about people, how people work, so that then we can go, phew, because now every person who comes in is different. So I'm like, oh, bloody hell. How does that physiology work again? Because this person's different to the last person, was different to the last person. You know, it's like, you know, my ambition is just free up all that thinking, so that you can just then concentrate on the patient, and that's what I find in practice. I'm just getting better results. Because
are you still using mainly palpation?
Channel palpation? Yeah. Oh,
that's what you're. Oh,
that's just that's basic to me. To me, the channel palpation is like the point at which you prove or disprove a hypothesis. So effectively, the patient comes to you and starts talking to you, and you're already starting to think, oh God, look at their dark circles under their eyes, and you know, they're talking like this, and you know, and they're complaining of this, and you're starting to think, okay, this is going on. And then channel palpation is when you think, okay, I think this person's kidneys are basically a bit shot, and I think they're maybe not communicating with their lungs. So I'm already thinking, you know, say kidney 6 and lung 5 and all kinds of things. And you palpate, and then you go, yeah, that makes sense. You know, I can feel a lot of toughness here, and you know, around kidney 3, so that suggests their kidney and and they're a bit tender in lung 5. And you go, okay, I feel confident about that. And I normally you know, feel confident they're going to get better. And then sometimes you don't feel the right channel changes and you're like, okay, so, right, maybe my thinking is wrong. And then you can go back and rethink and, you know, and so basically it's a kind of, for me, it's the last step, channel palpation, in your diagnostic tool set. You could almost just go straight to channel palpation in a way.
Yeah.
And then
go
from
ahead.
there, and then it segues so nicely into channel palpation is waking up the point is needling.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Someone's asking, where can you learn channel palpation? Who do you recommend learning from?
Well, if you're in the UK, you can learn it with me. But if you're not in the UK, well, firstly, I would get Wang Juyi's book and Jason Robertson. That is the best book on acupuncture I've read, and I would start there. And I would start palpating. Just start palpating the channel.
I agree. Just do it, because you can feel where it's stagnant or jammed up or empty. You know, like you can feel it. It's amazing. Yeah, you know, I actually, I mean, in school, I didn't learn much about palpation at all. And you were really the first person when I saw you lecture that really I'd heard talk about it. And then I started to use it and I was like, this is awesome. And then I was speaking to another acupuncturist, Elad. He's in Israel, and he was talking about diagnosing and having a way to make sure your diagnosis is right. And one of the ways that he uses is like palpation. And I was like, I really like that. You know, when we start to tie everything in together, it's such an efficient medicine, you know, if you put all the pieces together. So I really like the palpation aspect a lot. Do you write about that in your book? Because how are you teaching doctors? Are you teaching doctors in your book about acupuncture, how to acupuncture? Because of what you said, are you just teaching the application of it? Like, how are you doing that?
So, the book is all. So channel palpation was like the key thing. Like I went to study Wang Juyi in China. Channel palpation was the key thing that just made me went, okay, this thing's real, because before that, the way I'd been taught was very much that you can't see chi. It doesn't exist on any plane of existence that we can see or treat, or you know, it's magic basically. That's what kind of people were saying subconsciously.
Totally.
It's magic. The channels were described as meridians, and meridians were like, well, they don't exist either, but they do exist, you know.
Yeah.
And that's why I always use the word channels. And then I went to Wang Juyi, and he was just like, right, okay, no, the channels are here and there's spaces in the body. Immediately I went, oh, well, that makes complete logical sense.
Total logical sense.
And then he said they basically connect to the internal organs. And I'm like, well, you know, because I'd spent a lot of time doing surgery. I'm not a surgeon. People sometimes accuse me of that. It's not true. My dad was a surgeon. My wife's a kind of surgeon. So I don't have anything, you know, any particular problem with surgeons, honestly. But
noted.
But they do have a particular personality, actually, surgeons, which is quite interesting. So they're ripe for having fun made out of them. And but I've done a lot of surgery, and so you know, surgeons move through spaces in the body, and these spaces connect, you know, in very clear ways. So the peritoneal space or channel, as it should really be called, connects liver. And it actually forms the liver as well. I talk about this, but it forms the liver and forms the uterus. This channel, this plane, this fascial plane, it makes both of those two structures. So that's how they're connected. So when Wang Juyi was saying, or was it Juyi Wang? But anyway, when he was,
I think the first one.
when he was saying about how the channels are real and this, it just intuitively I just went, of course, that makes perfect sense. So then you're like, okay, so then you can palpate, and because of course if they're real and they exist and they flow down, then of course if you've got a lung problem, it's going to try and go down the channel, isn't it? Because that's what the body does. It tries to externalize pathogens, and so then you can feel, and then the whole thing just kind of made sense. So in order to understand, you know, the book is built from the bottom up, you know, in order to understand the final step, which is channel palpation, you have to understand firstly what chi is, what the channels are, how the channels function in health, how they function in pathology, then how the body is created of these 6 planes, and then how each of those planes is functioning and what it's doing, and then how the organs fit into that, and then finally you can start to understand why, when you feel the channels and why when you put needles in, you can elicit these changes. And it's very logical and very simple, and you know, and it's all kind of provable as well, because all of these organs all exist on, they all have like an electrical force that's driving them. So the most obvious one is the heart. It's basically the heart. It actually looks like a flame. It branches out like a flame, and this electricity just like comes out like a. It's actually been described as it's not even moving along the branches of the heart fibers. It's actually moving like an electromagnetic wave, like a.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
It moves if you have 2 heart fibers next to each other, not touching, and one of them is activated and fires off. It will make the one next to it fire off.
Cool.
Like a fire. Well, again, you know, like fire catching. You know how fires, you know, with a lot of bushfires at the moment, they can jump across things like that. Cool. You know, so this again, the description of Chinese medicine as the heart as fire is really accurate.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I mean, for sure, the heart is an obvious one where there's energy and electric, and, you know, it's proven that you can, like, we have, like, an electromagnetic field. I can't remember how many feet out from us. I mean, like 3 feet or 6 feet or something.
Well,
our electromagnetic field.
Infinite. I mean, electromagnetism, your heart, the electricity from your heart would just be going at the speed of light into the cosmos.
Oh, well, I like that.
Yeah.
Me and the jellyfish, immortal. No.
Yeah. They don't have a heart, but they do have a nervous system.
That's true.
But that's I'm not, you know, I like jellyfish as long as they don't sting me. Actually, I don't like jellyfish.
So that's cool. So your new book too has lots of your pictures in it, yeah? Like you drew?
Yeah. It's got all. Yeah, it's a lot of artwork in there. Yeah, that took me a lot of time actually. But the interesting thing is to take the liver for it. So I'm really glad I did the artwork, because once you start trying to draw stuff, you realise that you don't understand it. And so the liver was the classic one, because you go onto Google now and just put liver sinusoid, which is the functional unit of the liver, and it's basically almost all of them are drawn in 2 dimensions.
Huh.
Now the liver, what's that?
How come? Because they don't understand it properly, you think?
Well, because what they can explain how 3 things move through the liver in 2 dimensions, but there's actually 4 things going through the liver. There's blood, so there's blood going in, and there's arterial blood going in, and then you've got bile coming out and lymph coming out. So you've got all of these technical descriptions of the liver incredibly missed out the lymph, to the point where there was actually, until about 20 years ago, you know, they used to talk about the portal triad. And I got taught this in medical school. The portal triad was basically blood, bile, and what was the third thing? But basically it wasn't, I think it was arterial blood, venous blood, and bile, but there was no lymph. Now,
interesting.
The liver's main function really is to separate blood and lymph. That's what it does. It has you know, in Wang Zhiyi's book, he talks about the liver dredges, drains, and regulates. So it literally drains blood. It has something called a sinusoid, which is this tube through which blood goes. It's got tiny little holes, and these tiny little holes are too small for the red cells to pass through, but the fluid passes through them. So it drains like a colander. You know how you put spaghetti into a colander? The liver does that with your blood. It drains the fluid, the lymph out of it, basically, gives it a wash, cleans it up, and then either sends it back into the blood or sends it into the lymph. So that's what that's when they say it drains, the liver dredges, drains and regulates. That's the draining and the regulating bit. And the dredging is something that also goes on with, like, it has loads of immune cells in it that are basically constantly cleaning out bigger things like really fatty lumps like cholesterol, but also microbes. Again, wind. You know, it's full of these things called Kupffer cells. So that's why the liver, that's one aspect of why the liver's so important in managing wind. It's just chock-a-block full of them.
Chock-a-block.
Chock-a-block, yeah. Yeah, and it can become chock-a-block as well. So then when this system gets chock-a-block, it what does it do? It slows down the blood flow through the liver. That causes chi stagnation. So that's so chi, all of these things are real physical entities that
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not like a airy fairy.
Yeah.
It's real.
It's all real. It's all real. It's all absolutely perfect description of how the body works.
It's amazing.
Western medicine is primitive. It's just got really amazing tools. And it's very good at some things. Like, it's very good, for instance, I was just thinking this today, it's very good at clearing phlegm.
Yeah.
You know, because they can get in there.
You mean through surgery?
Yeah, surgery.
You mean like liposuction?
Liposuction is an example, yeah. Yeah. I mean, why, you know, if it's got that bad, and I mean, and you know, but you need the kind of, I mean, take for instance our peritoneal adhesions, which are phlegm in the peritoneum. And I mean, you could certainly try clearing that with acupuncture. You know, you certainly should do that afterwards, and herbs and stuff. Yeah. But equally, if it's just kind of got really bad, you know, do a laparoscopy, which effectively is, so instead of treating the liver channel in the leg, you're treating the liver channel in the abdomen. Yeah, do a laparoscopy, put a needle in there, cut all the adhesions, give it a suction, clean it out. You know, I would recommend it if someone's got to that point. You know, what they do in Western medicine is the opposite, though, or not the opposite, but they will just do a laparoscopy to have a look. You know, which is kind of crazy because I mean, you can perforate someone's bowel and aorta and
right, totally, yeah.
Dan,
man, I'm wondering what do you foresee your vision for medicine? Like, how do you want your book and your combination of all this knowledge to ultimately impact medicine?
I want it to completely revolutionize medicine.
Yes.
That's what I want.
That's what I mean. Like, is that what you want to see? You know, like, what do you want to see in, like, I don't know, 25 years?
In 25 years, basically the standard of care should be that when you go and see your doctor, if they don't try acupuncture and possibly herbs before putting you on medication, then they're opening themselves up to a lawsuit.
Oh,
that's what I want to see.
Yeah. So in order for that to happen, then we probably really do need to continue to educate Western doctors as much as we can. You know?
Western doctors are, Western doctors are, so the reason I wrote my first book in the style that I wrote it was because there was very little point trying to write that book for Western doctors. And actually, because Western doctors won't listen in that way. But
not all. But
not
maybe
all.
Most.
Yeah. But equally, at this point in time now, there are a lot of Western doctors out there who are very disillusioned. They're open to new ideas. They know, even if it's not consciously, they know subconsciously that there's something very corrupt within their establishment, that they can no longer even trust their own trials and studies, and so I think a lot of them, my opinion of doctors is almost all of them got good hearts. Even the ones who drive around in Ferraris and make loads of money,
there's nothing wrong with money, man. You're talking to the business coach.
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing wrong with money.
I know, I agree completely. That's what I'm saying. Even the ones who are like, you know, doing that, they've still, but no, some people, you know, probably in other industries, the people those kind of people might have less of a good heart. But in my experience, almost every doctor who I've encountered, you know, even the ones who are more money interested, and there's nothing wrong with that, but they've still got really good hearts, and actually a lot of what holds them back is dogma. I think a lot of doctors have to start being a lot more cynical and skeptical about their own beliefs and their own profession. They're taught to be cynical and skeptical, but not really. They don't apply that to their own practice enough. By a long
Interesting.
way. By a long way.
So wait, what do you mean they're taught to be cynical and skeptical? Because I don't know about that.
Oh, they are. It's inherent within their education that they're taught. So they're taught how to read studies, and they're taught how to well, mainly it's through studies that they're taught how to be cynical and skeptical. The problem is with that, firstly, you've got to read your studies. That's the first thing, and they don't, in my experience.
Who has time?
Yeah, that's the excuse. That's pathetic. That's pathetic. My sister said that. Sorry.
It's not a priority. It's not a priority, you know?
No, I don't have time to read studies of medicines that I don't even give, like vaccines. But I read them because I've got the internet, and I don't have to go to a library and sit down and order a study. I just go Google vaccine study flu and bang, it comes up, and 5 minutes later. The best one is pneumococcal, actually, for a study on a vaccine, which shows it resolutely doesn't work.
Yeah, vaccines, that's a whole nother...
Yeah, that is a different issue. But my point...
I am not a fan of vaccines.
But my point is that... So I wouldn't... In dealing... So this book is definitely being written as a textbook. It's called Antom, a new textbook of medicine.
Antom?
Antom.
A new textbook of medicine. Cool. Good choice. Good choice.
And I think I'm just going to have to leave it like that, because if I try and put a subtitle in, it just starts restricting what it is, because it really is just it's basically
a new textbook of medicine.
The Chinese description of the body and pathology is perfect. It's perfect, and it can explain. It can make predictions. It can explain. And for instance, it talks about the Shaoyin level, which is heart and kidney, and also blood vessels. And every single antihypertensive known to man works on heart or kidney or blood vessels. It's all working on the Shaoyin level, and so on. And basically, this is just it's 140,000 words here, which sounds a lot, but it's nothing. It's in a textbook of medicine, it's nothing. And it basically goes through the entirety of the physiology of the body, plus how to treat it. And it's just because it's Chinese medicine brought into the 21st century.
I love it.
Yeah.
Can you see these comments here? We have a couple of questions. There we go. Something happened with my connection.
Oh, your connection. Okay, good. All right, I'm trying to turn it around a bit. I'll tell you what. Let me go on to.
I can read it.
Big computer. Yeah, read it out. Yeah.
One just says, my brother has genetic autoimmune hepatitis. What angle would you go with acupuncture? His immune system is attacking his liver as a foreign entity. 29 years old at onset. Chronic ear infections as a child and asthma.
Okay, so chronic ear infections is damp, isn't it?
Yeah.
Damp and phlegm.
Generally, yeah.
Asthma. So
that could be damp again, if it's a damp pattern.
And it suggests some kind of like retained pathogen. And I mean, what would I do? Well, I would just start from autoimmune. I
didn't even know hepatitis could be autoimmune.
Everything can be.
Wow, I didn't really know that.
But, basically, if they find something in the body where the immune system's attacking it, and they can't see what it's
just
attacking,
autoimmune.
It's autoimmune. Yeah. So it then becomes like a logical fallacy, I think. Is that the right word? I don't know. But basically, where it
works.
Yeah, it's good. Sounds good, doesn't it? So why not
Sounds
use
good.
it? It's a big word.
Just roll with it.
Fallacy.
Fallacy.
So it's you know, so I would get rid of, stop thinking about autoimmune, think about what's going on Chinese medicinally, channel palpation, the hepatitis. So the other thing is, when a disease is in a Western organ, like the liver, it's in the same the Chinese organ and the Western organ are the same.
Yeah.
The reason why there's a broader context to a Chinese organ than the Western organ is because it's a plane.
The planes.
And you've got a condensation. So if you look, if this is the plane, then you got a condensation or thickening of the plane. That's where the organ is. So, but the rest of that plane is also part. So, so for instance, the lung and spleen are basically the endoderm that starts in your mouth and ends at your anus, and that's the plane, and then it goes into the lung where it kind of thickens and or spawns out, and then the spleen is a bit of a weird organ, but all of that's why the nose is part of the lung, because it's part of the same plane.
Oh, so you're saying that the organs are the planes?
Yeah.
I get it.
Thickening.
I just put it together.
I
remember too when I saw you lecture, you did the plastic example with the balloon in it. You were trying to explain the planes then. Yeah. The saran wrap. Yeah. Okay. So so are you even thinking of them as separate? Not really at all, huh? So that's why you can treat things from totally different parts of the body and different organs, and that's why there's pairs, and
that's why they're connected. That's why you can put a needle into your wrist and affect the lung, because it's basically the same plane.
The same plane. Interesting. And it makes total sense from a Western embryological point of view.
Yeah.
Like 100, like you can't even deny it.
No. That's what I say.
Fascinating.
I could have a conversation. I've had this conversation with professors, doctors, consultants, hundreds and hundreds of people, and there's no throwback to it, because it's correct. That's the reason.
It's correct, exactly. The paired organs are in the correct plane.
Yeah. And so very primitive embryology talks about these planes as endoderm, ectoderm, mesoderm, which a jellyfish still has, these planes. But then what happens is we get much more sophisticated, obviously, and then we get another 4 planes in the inside, which are basically because what happens is the organism, as it gets bigger, it has a diffusion problem, so it needs a heart to pump the fluids around to beat the space constraint of diffusion. But then even that isn't enough, because the organism wants to get bigger still, so then it has a closed heart system. Don't worry, I explain it in my book. It makes a closed heart that then pumps this fluid around, but then that creates its own problem in that that fluid is constantly leaking into the lymphatic system, and also needs to be cleaned. So then you get the liver. So you get these 4 planes inside, and it gets more complex, but the basic structure is still these planes in the body: endoderm, ectoderm, mesoderm, and that's why you can put a needle and affect it.
And so are you thinking, just back to this question, that she should think like plane-wise and not think...
Yeah, so get rid of the Western diagnosis. Autoimmune is useless.
I agree. So what did this go symptomology again?
Because they can't cure it, can they, with their drugs? So they don't know.
They probably make it worse.
Yep, they probably do. It may well be that what happened with the asthma and the immunosuppressants they gave there actually brought on the hepatitis.
I would say that that's probably spot on.
So you probably got a phlegm damp issue from like a diet, likely, or just
who
whatever.
knows, born.
Almost certainly. It's almost always diet, isn't it? Phlegm damp. Anyway, that then predisposes to infection. Lung infection of sorts, very mild. asthma symptoms, which is basically like the body going, well, I need to get rid of this pathogen, wheezy and stuff. So instead of at that point helping with cupping on Feng Men, you know, bladder 12, bladder 13, brilliant place to cut, bit of moxa there perhaps, and maybe some lung points. No, here's some steroids. What do the steroids do? The immune system goes, oh, is everything fine? Are you sure everything's fine? Because I'm pretty sure there was something there. And this drug's going, no, seriously, we've got other things to worry about, don't worry. And then as soon as the steroids wear off, it's like, no, there it is, I've got to get it, you know. And so the immune system goes back, so they get on steroids. Meanwhile, the immune system elsewhere can't fight properly either, and so you can get autoimmune conditions appearing elsewhere. And so what they need to do is reverse everything, you know, and just start dealing with that damp and phlegm properly. If you just start dealing with that, I mean, I haven't seen this last, I don't know what's going on, but I would think, okay, cupping, possibly back shoe points, obviously, damp and phlegm sounds like it's going to be an issue, and so spleen and lung, and probably Feng Men, like bladder 12, brilliant point, almost certainly relates to the thymus gland, and I would use mox on that as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And if it works, let me know.
Else.
and send the check. 7 Puna Road.
Someone's asking another question, but I don't really know what it means. Are you thinking to help doctors understand the difference between trade? It says trade 1 and the current Western offer, or trade I don't know what that is. Not sure what they're asking there.
That's an autocorrect thing, isn't it? So trade,
maybe.
Tradition.
Maybe. Let's see. The difference between traditional and the current Western offer? I don't know. Jess, if you're still on here, type in your question again.
Yeah.
And then another Alyssa, named Twinsy, is asking around when will the book be projected to be out? They want your book.
Oh, yeah. Beginning of October, I reckon.
Right on.
October,
that's right around the corner.
Yeah.
Okay,
exactly.
so Hannah here, who was asking about the autoimmune, says he arbitrarily stopped them, but liver enzymes jumped. Maybe the like
steroids.
Meds or steroids, yeah. Well, but I would think, I mean, the body always has some type of reaction when you go off of meds. Usually, what's the word I'm looking for? Withdrawal reactions. Symptoms that people are on drugs for usually get worse when they go off of the drugs in the beginning?
Well, the reason, so what's going on with autoimmune?
And she also says that he lives in New England, so there's a bit of an extra exposure to damp.
Yeah, there we are. Yeah, and it wasn't called New England for nothing. So they didn't call Florida New England, did they? They didn't get to Florida and go, God, this is just like home. The thing about the immunosuppressants is, short term, they are amazing. Short term, absolutely amazing, because what you've got is there is this, so the best description of autoimmune is rather hyperimmune. So you've got an immune system that's almost slightly overreacting, because it's reacting in such a way that it's potentially going to kill the person. Yeah, so it's kind of so hyperimmune. This was a guy called Steve who specialised in Lyme disease, who works in, he's a doctor as well, and he works in California near San Francisco, and he told me this, and the first time he said it to me, it's just like, that makes perfect sense. Hyperimmune. So the immunosuppressants, in a way, they do keep people alive, but they don't fix people.
No, that's like all meds.
Yeah, exactly. Almost all meds. Yeah, exactly. And so they don't fix them. And so you can, I would say, look, stay on them. And because I mean, it's a difficult one, but what you want to do is get the acupuncture going, and what I said, I would, that's how, without seeing him, I don't know, but that's what I'm thinking, from what they've said, and especially bladder 12, because that's going to really boost the immune system, and moxa or cupping, depending on whether you think that he's got a real virulent pathogen going on, in which case you want to cup. And then cup maybe on the other back shoe points as well, really pull stuff. Cupping, I think, works by pulling things into effectively the Tai-Yang level, which is very immunogenic, very full of T and B cells. I don't like mixing Western and Chinese medicine, but, because it's when you get into trouble. But that's how cupping works. It kind of pulls things into a layer of the body, the Tai-Yang, where the body's much happier about dealing and excreting things.
Yeah, it's able to detox more effectively, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because it's bladder. And what does bladder do? Excrete poison.
It detoxes. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. So Ted is asking if he can pre-order your book.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
That's actually not a bad idea. You should set that up, because then it will fund your publishing stuff. But self-publishing, I guess, is a little different too.
You can, definitely. There will be a pre-order, but I want it will happen in the next few weeks, actually, as soon as I know when. I don't want to set up a pre-order for publishing date that's not set.
Yeah.
So
Good plan, man.
Yeah, because otherwise I'd be like saying, "Oh, sorry that your book's late." So in a couple of weeks, and you're absolutely right, because then it can fund my
it can fund it.
And,
exactly.
Like with the conversation we've had, there's a revolution in medicine coming, and we're going to make it. And this book, this book is like a key part of it, because what this book does is really set the I've worked really hard on this book to make it kind of bomb-proof.
Yeah.
That people can't, because what people tend to do stuff like this is find straw men.
This is another saying I don't know.
All right, so they'll find one small part of the book that's contentious or wrong. And explode that up into something that's it discredits the entire thing. Now, of course, this is nonsensical, because you can apply that to Western medicine over and over
it's going to happen no matter how hard you try to make it not happen. It always happens. Haters gonna hate, man.
Yeah, that's it. And also there's a very powerful industry, it's literally a $1 trillion industry that has a vested interest in keeping acupuncture as a on the periphery.
They rule the world.
So
but they're starting to bring it in. They're starting to bring it in.
What's that?
They're starting to bring it in, the Western medicine. They're bringing it into the hospitals.
Right.
We got the ICD-11 codes now, are TCM related. Those are coming out. They're being tested. I mean, it's happening. The shift is happening. And so, like someone the other day, because I reposted this thing on the ICD-11 codes that are including TCM, and they were like, you know what, I don't really like that, because that's putting our medicine in the hands of Western medicine, and they're going to take over. I get it, but the point is that I said to them was that I get it, and like we are definitely going to go through a transitional period as we learn how to integrate together, and nobody ever said this was going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, but it's got to be done, and that I think is a really great forwarding step for our medicine to be involved in the ICD-11.
We've got to raise our game so much.
Yeah, I know.
We really have to. They're right. I mean, it's
knowledge.
The first thing that came into my head actually when you said that. I was like, I know how the medical establishment works, and they'll try to co-opt it. But
I know, but
we've got to
keeping
raise
separate
our game.
is exactly. It's just gonna.
Yeah.
I agree.
And then what will happen is the doctors. I mean, we want the doctors to adopt acupuncture, but what we want them to do is eventually say. Listen, I tried treating this patient with acupuncture, but didn't really get very good results. Then referring to you as the expert.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like a specialist.
Because I know you get really good results with asthma. I've tried all the basic stuff. I've tried to like clear their damp and stuff, but hasn't really helped. Can you, is there some kind of herbal thing, or
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to doing because the Western stuff's not going to disappear. It's still going to be needed.
No. Yeah. One of the most. Oh, go ahead. Finish your thought.
No, it's just gonna have a lot less prominence in 20-25 years if the revolution is achieved.
Not if, when it is achieved. It is happening.
Well, it is. It's huge change, guys. It's great, actually.
Huge.
I'm extremely positive about recent events. So
Yeah. Me too. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, it's like people have woken up enormously. I've been active on many fronts for. See, to fix a problem, you have to really understand what the problem is. Yeah,
Mm.
you can't just fix it superficially. So to really, the problem has been in our society is, well, twofold: consciousness, and linked into that has been the distribution of information, and the internet's just massively blown up. I mean, look what we're doing. We effectively have got a TV
Yeah.
channel, you know, that we've just set up poorly.
Yeah. And we could tell people anything.
Yeah, we can tell people anything. Yeah,
Anything.
and this is
Crazy.
amazing. Yeah. So,
but the point is, to use it for positive change in the world, for sure. You know.
yeah. Well, I think most people do just want to achieve like positive things. The problem is a lot of time with society is that the worst people will claw their way to the top. That's the nature of the beast. But I'm really positive about it at the moment. Actually, it's good. We're in a good place. So this is like you know, for acupuncturists, what we need to do is keep raising our game, more and more.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
part of that is you know, having an open mind, throwing away dogma, sacred cows, and trying to. It's really important actually that you don't. So you don't try and Wang Yi said it to me actually. What did he say? Professor Wang Yi, when I was in China with him, I was only there for 2 weeks. He talked about somebody said, oh, they've gone to see the TCM endocrinology clinic, and he just went like this. I forget what he basically said something along the lines of, oh, you can't mix your metaphors, but I forget. You know, you're mixing paradigms. It's like you actually can if you're really know what you're doing, but not at that level. It's like because actually what the hormones are messenger systems for the organs. But anyway, I won't go into this. But that's so it's really important that you don't, unless you really know what you're talking about, you don't try and mix the two together.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, I think
you just get in a world of problems.
Yeah, and I think, you know, in terms of raising our game, that we need to continue to expand our knowledge in things like, you know, your stuff, other Western ways of understanding our medicine, because sometimes we need the combination, and then sometimes we need the Western, and then sometimes we need the Eastern, you know, like we need it all, you know.
Yeah,
So,
like I said, like if I've got a load of phlegm or stagnant blood, you know, like a cancer, you know, in my body, you know, and a surgeon says, look, we can cut that out and it's pretty safe, I'll be like, yeah, do it. Because you're just, the ancient Chinese, you know, would have been like, yeah, well, hang on. Because the only reason they didn't do surgery back then was they did do it, but it was, they had no rock uranium, which is basically makes you paralyzed, and they had no anesthesias, and they had no antibiotics. And so basically surgery was incredibly dangerous. They probably, I would guess they knew about that, but it was just too dangerous and too uncomfortable, and you're better off just not having it. You know, you 50 pre-antibiotics, and it was pretty close to around 50% mortality for surgery and stuff. It was just crazily dangerous. And a surgeon, the reason surgeons are called misters is because a surgeon was pre-anesthesia was the key thing about a surgeon. What do you reckon it was? See if you can guess. What was the key quality a surgeon had to have?
Oh gosh, pre-antibiotics?
Pre-anesthesia.
Like no conscience?
Pre-anesthesia, which was also pre-antibiotics.
Bad hearing?
Bad hearing. No, that came after. Speed.
Oh, yeah.
How fast did you do it? Because basically, like, you couldn't spend 3 hours operating because the patient would be dead.
No, they'd be dead. Yeah.
So that's why they were basically butchers. They were literally butchers, because a butcher knew how the body was basically built, because it was bodies are very similar, whether you're a pig or a human, and so they just went through. So that's why they're called misters, not doctors. You get a bit of reverse snobbery where, you know, they end up.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So that's where, you know, so that just shows you how dangerous surgery is, and like that's why the ancient Chinese didn't do a lot of it. If they'd have had these things, they would have. I'm sure of it. And that's why I say, look, if you've got phlegm, or, you know, if a surgeon can give you a very good endpoint. So the surgeon can say, look, we can remove this cancer. Like take a melanoma, for instance. You know, if you've got a melanoma, it's pretty sensible to get it removed.
Yeah,
you know, because they can do an excision, they can look at it and then go, look, it's less than 2 millimeters, whatever. Your chance of survival is pretty good. And if you leave it, and then you go and see an acupuncturist or herbalist and say, look, I've got, you know, problem stagnant blood.
Yeah.
And
integration. This is why we need the integration.
Yeah.
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 You know, I mean, one of the most, I think, brilliant things that I learned about integration, I don't think I told you, because I think I learned this after we were hanging out, but is when I was in Israel. You know, they have unbelievable integrative medicine there. It's in all the hospitals.
Wow.
There's this one hospital. Yeah, it's unreal.
Yeah.
I think it's like a leader in the whole world. So there's one hospital, they've had integrated medicine for 22 years. And the woman who runs the program, I've been trying to get her on a little video because it's fascinating. So she said that how they integrated, finally, was that they didn't, Eastern doctors like didn't go in and say, hey, we can treat everything, because we can, but they became pals with the Western doctors and then asked, what are your challenges and your struggles with what you're treating your patients? Because there's plenty of things that Western doctors struggle with, you know, and then they're like, well, maybe Eastern medicine can help them there. So then they became like these amazing collaborative partners that helped the Western doctors where they were struggling. You know, and that's ultimately how they became integrative. And it's in the entire country now.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, you should get her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I'm trying. She's busy.
She's busy, yeah.
But for sure, like there are some things Western medicine does more efficiently, you know, and effectively. And there's some things that Eastern, and then there's some things that us together are going to do. Again, sometimes you need Western, sometimes Eastern, sometimes both. You know, that's it. That's the key.
Yeah, so, that's it. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yep. That's why we got to up our game with your book. So how can we as the acupuncture community help you to support and get out your book? Like, what is your game plan?
Oh, yeah,
you know?
yeah. So I'm starting up a YouTube channel called What God Forgot to Tell Surgeons. And
of course you are.
So this is very clearly aimed at doctors, because doctors all find that quite a laughable title. So what God forgot to tell surgeons. I meant to try and do it before today, but obviously
it's okay.
we had the whole time. So
we can do this again. We'll do this again.
Yeah, we'll do it again. So I thought I'll do that in the 15 minutes I've got. But and so in that, so I'll put something on my Facebook in the next day about where that is. So please join me on Facebook, and I'll provide a link to the YouTube channel. And basically, that YouTube channel, what I'm going to do is talk through all of the chapters of the book. So just work my way through the book, explaining it, because you know, even though I've done my best to keep things simple, there's still a lot more information out there. And I would just it's going to be a kind of fun kind of YouTube channel, or try and get guests on and keep things light-hearted, and invite your medical friends to kind of check it out, and check it out yourself, and join and subscribe, and and then if you kind of get the book as well, that's great. You know, that it will be clearly, I'll make it clear that actually I'm doing this YouTube channel to sell the book, but as you know, there's, you know, everyone has to make money, and the more money you can make in life, the better, really.
Well, the more you can
make
help
it in the
people,
right way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, okay, so then really you're aiming to use the YouTube channel to sell the book and to educate Western doctors, and you want the most support on your YouTube channel.
The most what?
Like support for your YouTube channel versus the book?
The
versus
YouTube
the actual book?
The YouTube channel is basically, Well, it's all about like Facebook, Twitter. They control their algorithms too closely. So
Yeah, they do.
YouTube just wants you to watch their programs, and they'll put an advert in front, and they're kind of cool beyond that. But Facebook want you to advertise. So YouTube is a better platform at the moment.
I was gonna say, yeah, they change all the time.
Yeah, yeah. So YouTube's a good platform, and also. I mean, I love watching YouTube personally. I love having it on in the background sometimes and listening to people talk, and you know, so yeah, that's the kind of, and it's kind of like, for me, like I said, what I want to do is get the book so popular that it generates so much income for me that I can just focus on other things. Which what I'd like, my next thing I'd really like to do if I get this big enough, is I want to go into acupuncture.
Say when, not if.
When, yeah,
when.
Yeah. When I get it big enough, I like your thinking. Is when that's generating enough income for me to basically be able to explain to my wife that I don't need to work. then I'm going to go to A&E departments, which are under enormous stress in this country, because I'm an emergency doctor.
Oh yeah. So what's A&E though?
Oh, emergency.
Oh, A&E is emergency. Okay.
Emergency.
Okay.
So my plan is to go there when I'm making enough money from the book, which is basically about 1,500 copies a year. When I'm selling that, I can do this.
Okay. I like your clarity. Clarity is everything.
Yeah. That's when it's like bang. That's when it's like, okay. And then I'm going to go there and say, look, I will bring acupuncturists into your department, to work for free, to deal with your patients. Yes, because if you want to learn acupuncture, the best place to learn acupuncture is the emergency department. Because you find out immediately whether that needle's made in the heart. Immediately.
Well, I mean, you have used acupuncture in the emergency department, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it tells you, you get instant feedback. So you don't have any of this like, how is your fibromyalgia compared to last treatment? Oh, it feels a bit better. You get wow, my pain's gone.
Yeah.
It's that level. Yeah. It's like, and that was with massage.
Or like unconscious. Oh yeah, I remember you told me that story. Yeah. So okay, so this is a really intriguing vision, Dan, man.
Yeah.
So this though, do you see this as one of the ways to get more acupuncture into hospitals and start getting more attention for it?
Well, of course. The moment doctors start seeing, so I get it in there because the A&E department basically is just so snowed under that they go, we can't really say no to this bastard. And then once it's in there, then doctors start seeing the results and go, whoa, what's... Huh?
Is that what you saw happen when you were working in there? Is that what you saw happen?
Yeah. I've had nurses, because most of the time, I've had doctors, nurses just go, what? They don't understand. I mean,
because
they don't understand how it can happen.
Yeah.
You know, because the paradigm just it's not operating at any level close to how this could work. Yeah. So they're just like,
totally.
How can massaging here stop a nosebleed?
Yeah.
I know I've just seen that. I know it happened because you stopped massaging, nosebleed restarted, and then you restarted massaging and it stopped again.
So they're not like coincidence?
But it makes no sense.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting idea. I would say too that I bet acupuncture is probably the emergency room is the last place that they ever considered first working in a hospital. But I like it.
It's the best
place. I like the plan.
It's the best place, man. And
I see your vision.
They'll kind of
I support your vision.
And you learn. So my angle will be, what I'll do is I'll set up a school for acupuncture. So this is why I'll still make money out of this. In fact, it would be more the school will make money. So the school will then charge the students or the acupuncturists to go into the A&E departments.
Yes, exactly, like the externships. Yeah.
And then when the doctors say, what the fuck's going on? I want to learn. I go, just join the school.
Yeah.
and
I
and
like
then
your large
then you can
visions.
pay to go to work.
This is a good vision. This is a good vision.
Yeah.
ATOM school. What's the name of the book? ATOM?
Anton.
A new Antom.
Textbook of medicine.
Antom school.
Anton
Has a ring to it.
Yeah. And I never realised how close it is to anatomy, actually, as well.
Oh, yeah. It is.
Anton.
Antom anatomy. Yeah.
Anton. Can I put an anatomy in there? Anyway, I better go because the kids have got mackerel on. We went down. It was amazing. We went to the beach today. So sorry for being late. And England has just had this crazy heat wave. Same in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And we were on the beach and there was the water. I've never seen this before in England, but the water was boiling with these tiny fish, whitebait, that were jumping out of the water like something from those Alaskan films you see.
Because the water was too hot for them?
No, the mackerel underneath were like chasing them out of the water. You could see them, and the water was boiling. And so there were fishermen down there, and just like throwing their rods in, with all these 5 or 6 what they call flares or whatever on them, and they were reeling back like 3 or 4 mackerel at a time. And they had this just massive pot of mackerel, and the guy just so nice, big fat Polish guy, just turned around and just went, "Oh, just take some, it's fine." So we got mackerel on the barbecue, and we're gonna go.
Well, it sounds like a lovely evening. Well, thanks for making time and chatting away. Always fun. Good to see you again. We'll do it again, and keep promoting your book and your YouTube and stuff when it comes out.
Yeah, and,
we appreciate your book so much.
And if you haven't signed up to Lisa's 6-figure acupuncture, then do it, because Lisa's
Thank you, my friend.
Wise words to teach about how to basically be a successful acupuncturist.
That's right.
And thank you for having me on. Thank
you.
Yes,
always fun. Good to see you. See you again. We'll do this again.
Yeah.
Enjoy your fish.
Yeah. Bye, Lisa.
All right. Bye, Dan.